right, welcome to the fight game. It's Icewater, it's Puma, and we're going to start off with the fight that got postponed with Fury and Usyk. And there was an eye injury in the Fury camp, and so they're postponing that fight to I think May 18th. And there's a conspiracy out there that says that Tyson Fury did this to himself to avoid fighting the little man, as he called it. Ice, your thoughts on this, man?
Man, I didn't know whether to just start laughing or get mad at the same time. I mean, that sad thing about it with the situation with social media, anybody can put out anything as long as they're good at they're good at Adobe, right? They can play anything, and it's really sad because I think it takes away from the whole events of the boxing world. But I mean, if you really, I mean, I might be wrong, but because I don't know Tyson Fury, but he's been wanting to prove that he is like one of the most premier boxing heavyweight champions ever. He did it by showing everybody what he did with Deontay against Deontay Wilder, and now you got an opportunity to go against the little man and take those belts. And you think this is coming up that he's gonna intentionally hurt himself because he's not ready or he's scared of the little man? Man, what y'all smoking? I'm serious because we saw what happened. Tyson Fury showed you what he's capable of. I think he wants every opportunity to do what he got to do to prove who he is. And that's like the biggest fight. If he wins this fight, I'm not saying he's going to be one of the top 10, nothing like that. But if he wins this fight, it does nothing but cement his legacy as an heavyweight champion forever, for a long time. He's definitely would be a Hall of Famer if he's not already. So why would he jeopardize, unless he was out of shape, and they said that's not the case, why would he jeopardize a fight like he's not ready against a dude that he clearly thinks he can beat?
Yeah, I mean, I just find it very ironic at this particular time. That right up, I think they were supposed to fight next week, and you get yourself in a situation where this happens in one of the biggest fights or heavyweight fights that's out there with one of the biggest cards, and so it's just to me ironic it happens at this particular time. I would think at this particular time you would be kind of slowing down your training camp, kind of winding down the training camp, so you would avoid any injuries like this, and just kind of just getting in shape for the fight. I can remember is the George Foreman Ali fight when George Foreman was in Zaire, he got hurt, and they had to postpone the fight, and Don King did some fancy dancing to keep everybody there because it was one of the biggest fights in the century. I don't think this is one of the biggest fights in the century, but it just reminded me of that situation where it's like, why would you put yourself in a situation like this that you could get hurt by a sparring partner, things so close to the fight? I think within 2 weeks of the fight, it just didn't make sense to me.
No, I agree with that. But to me, that's almost like saying, we know that Errol Spence was scheduled for a rematch with Terrence Crawford, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then somebody might go, "What? All of a sudden now your eye been messed up forever. Now all of a sudden you want to get cataract surgery." I mean, I'm just saying. Like all of a sudden it's convenient. Your eyes probably been messed up for the last 6 years. Now all of a sudden you think it's your best interest to get cataract surgery. When it's like you clearly don't want to fight Terrence Crawford what he did to you before. So I don't know. I understand the conspiracy, but I think for me it's like I think this is too big of a fight for Tyson Fury just to blow it off. I do. Now, if he was out of shape and somebody saw him and he needed more time, I get that. But why also too, I understand taking a chance. You know, guys do take a chance because they want to be the best at their best and ready for a fight. But to think that he would automatically, did you see that cut on his eye?
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge. And
Yeah.
the way it opened when they can't close it with the end swell, for those that don't know, that's a metal piece that you're supposed to use and not ice. Anyway, I'll never get over that. But when somebody's eye is open and damaged, but knowing you're supposed to use that and some other things, I don't think he would do that to himself on purpose. But that's the world that we live in social media.
Yeah, I don't think he did it on purpose, but my thing is, why would you risk, going hard and sparring at this particular point when you're like within 2 weeks of the fight? That's the only thing I question. It's like,
Hey, I'm
yeah,
gonna say
I've
this.
seen it happen before, but it's like, nah, dude,
But
this.
I get it. But to your point, I'm gonna say this: Dude's a fighter, man. We soft as hell right now. They do that all the time. You would never tell Mike Tyson, slow down, Mike, slow, ease up. You're like, man, you put me in there, I'm gonna try to knock this mother out. But now, well, did you put a band-aid on it? You make sure they, he got the heads. I mean, man, dude, fighters have been fighters forever. I get the safety part, but the majority of the fighters, like Tyson Fury, whoever they may be, they're getting prepared to be the best that they can be. And a lot of times, it's like when you play football and they tell you to go half speed, and the coach like, you ain't gotta hit them, but we don't want to go fast speed because when you go half speed is when you get hurt. So
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation because it's a lot of money on the line. Folks are looking forward to it. I know we were looking forward to it. And my thing is, don't put yourself in a position like that if you know there's a lot on the line. You should be kind of winding down the training camp and getting your mind ready and your body ready for the fight. But there's another fight that may be looming, maybe set Tszyu and Charlo. They're talking back and forth. Tszyu saying, "Hey, Charlo doesn't want any of this. I think he's signing up to fight Keith Thurman." Your thoughts on that?
Look, you even said this. You said this to me, and you mentioned it before. Like Charlo was scared, and some people said that he was running from Tszyu, right? And Tszyu was like, "Yeah, he's running from me," and all this and that. And Charlo need to get his life together. You really want to be a man, you step up and defend one of your belts. Okay, great. Sounds great. So Tszyu is clearly got the guy has belts. He won his last fight very convincingly, and now you're saying Charlo running, and you're calling for somebody of significance to fight you. But what do? You run. Keith Thurman ain't fought in 9 years. I'm just saying, you run and get a guy that when you sign a fight with Keith Thurman, a guy that you know you probably can beat because he's older, right? And somebody that it makes it easier for you to fight. But yet you go after Charlo and say whatever that Charlo was running from you. Another quick side note for those that are not listening or are listening, pay attention to this very closely. It also, there was we might as well throw a rumor out there. There was another rumor, since we are on rumors, that Tim Tszયુ's camp was also approached by another fighter that showed interest in wanting to fight him. If you're not gonna fight Charlo, you're like, you know what, maybe I want to fight you. But instead of taking this person invitation first, maybe he said they might fight them next. And that person was Terence Crawford. So and think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Terence Crawford wants to move up to 154 if you can't get that 147 fight, right? You think he can take 154 fight easily. If he can't if he can't fight Charlo, then he wants to fight Tszyu. I think Tszyu is perfect for him because the way that he's not that athletic and he's kind of more of a slower type of guy, he'd be perfect for Terence Crawford. And maybe that's what they're thinking too. Let's try to get this Keith Thurman money first, put one in the pocket, and then if Terence Crawford just having one come around, we can build up this as a bigger fight and get this money just in case I fall off. I got two persons coming in. Cause you ain't trying to see no Terence Crawford. Cause you and I both know that like I told you, agile boxer puncher, a la Terence Crawford, a la Jamel Charlo, and hell, a la Keith Thurman, who say he ain't gonna run, but he gonna box him too. Might take him out. So with all that being said, don't please. I just have a hard time, pumping up Tszyu. When you say you're fighting Keith Thurman, dude.
Hey, speaking of Crawford, there have been some talk that Crawford and Canelo might be an option. That Crawford is interested in getting up to 168. And I know that you and I have texted back and forth on this, and you're like, maybe he should get a fight at 154 first before he go to 168. But I'm here for it. I'm here for Crawford and Canelo. And if Canelo is willing, which I think he will be, I want to see this fight. I really want to see this fight. Your thoughts?
I'm gonna say this. I want to see it, but I'm also realistic that Terence Crawford is a bad man. He's a tough dude, but you're asking this man to go up 3 weight classes. That's a lot, man. Not saying I don't know what he walk around at. They said he's not as small as we think, and I think it'll be amazing because I would love to see him if he won. I mean, usually we have to give him all kind of love. I want to see it, but I don't know how realistic it is. But again, the point that I made is why I think Terence Crawford wants to fight at 154 because he's going to be able to see how his body reacts from the jump from 147 to 154, right? You fight against a bigger, stronger dude into Zoo that has punching power, knowing to knock and focus out. So if I can jump from 147 to 154, can I go from 154 to 168 or somewhere in between and take that punishment or that power and still do my thing, what I like to do, and still put this guy around? Because you know Canelo's a bull; he's coming straight forward too. So slowly, watch how this matriculates. If and it might be a total crazy theory I'm throwing at you, but it's ironic that you fighting the guy that may not be the fastest dude, may not be as versatile, and you fight him at 154 that you want to fight the Zoo, and then you come up to fight the big dog in Canelo and go, he a little slow too. If I can get him at 154 and I still feel good, hell, I think I'm gonna go for all the marbles and say let's get it on to 168. I
That'd be a
like that in
big
Terence
money fight.
Crawford, huh?
That'll be a big money fight right there.
Yeah, I like it. But can I throw one other thing in there real quick? I know we want to be too long, but amazing by the Canelo camp, right? For them to think about how they're going to orchestrate the last 2 fights, right, in the other PBC contract. I think this is amazing from the standpoint of who you might want to fight. I know Terence Crawford is on that PBC thing, but say what you want to, and I got TBE behind me. You know, they watch this guy. You talk of dog, not even putting him down and whatnot, but Canelo is watching that daggone blueprint and watching it. How can I get some decent fights, but also make the most money that I can that people are gonna really be excited about? So kudos to the Canelo camp.
Before we talk about some other fights, Shakur Stevenson put out a tweet and put out some information that he is retiring from the game of boxing. And I sent it to you. I wanted to verify it first before I sent it to you. What are your thoughts about this? What is he doing?
Um, I'm not sure because you don't know. I mean, he might be serious, but I think him being so young and him, this is like in the prime of his career. I'm not sure if he does do it, how long it's gonna last. I mean, I've seen a number of younger fighters or guys that swore that they were retiring, and maybe they just need a break. We saw Floyd Mayweather said he retired. I was at that fight after he fought De La Hoya. He contemplated retirement. Recently, Teofimo Lopez, after he won the 2 belts, couple belts. Oh man, I'm done. I ain't coming back. They don't treat me right. Blah blah blah. And maybe Shakur is like, what is there out there for me right now? I mean, I'm at this 135 weight. I'm kind of going through the motions. I'm getting through this. Tank's going up to 140. Devin Haney's up at 140. Maybe he's stepping back, taking time to really his team to assess what makes sense on this next level. So when you're retired, or say you're retired, you also get a chance to not really being bothered, take time away from the media and everything like that too, and focus on your family. I know that's a bizarre way to do it, but nobody's gonna be coming for him if he say retire unless he make a statement. So maybe, especially in the modern day world, retirement doesn't the statement making a retirement statement unless you come out with all of the cameras, you know, everything doesn't mean that much to me as it has done as it did in the past.
Okay.
So I think he might. I just think it may be something. He's young enough. I can't see him, especially if the money's right. You get an opportunity to fight Devin Haney, Davis, whomever, to be able to move up, whatever it may be, with crazy money on the line, that he's not going to step up, similar to what Teofimo Lopez is doing. So it doesn't mean as much to me, but kudos to him, but that's what he wants to do. Congratulations, but I think it's just maybe he's taking a break.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to some of the fights that I know Baval and Beterbiev are set up to get it on. There is Haney and Lopez, Teofimo Lopez. And then there's a possibility of Crawford Charlo is what you were telling me earlier.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Man, the better Bivol fight, it's like beautiful, man. I love it because these are two guys that were on a collision course, and they said, you know what, I win, he win, we ain't even messing around. That's my next fight. That's what I want. I know it's not gonna happen because you got too many trainers in the you got too many orchestrators in the ring trying to say who should fight or whatever, and trying to too many chefs and basically too many chefs in the kitchen, right? So, but I love that fight. I'm glad they're doing what they got to do. I think it's gonna be exciting. What we have to say? What did you say with Devin Haney and Lopez?
Okay.
The factor that I mean, and say what you want to about Devin Haney's dad, Bill Haney. You know, a lot of people think he's just kind of blowing smoke. But when he comes out and makes the declaration that that's the next fight that his son wants, and knowing what we know of Teofimo Lopez and how he goes about the business, knowing that he would really love that fight, I think styles make fights. I think that is a wonderful fight because they both have shown the ability to be what we call technicians, and you really got to dig deep when you fight one another. As long as you know nobody's sick or anything, I think that's a beautiful fight that the fans will really be, really will benefit up from to watch these two guys go at it from that standpoint. I think that's beautiful. And the third one you mentioned was Crawford and Canelo.
Charlo.
Charlo, yeah, Crawford and Charlo. Yeah. I know that's what Crawford wants because he wants to prove to the world that he belongs at 154, and I think that he believes after what he did to Errol Spence that it will be easier to take Charlo down as well. But I'm not sure if Charlo believes he's worthy, right? I'm not sure Charlo thinks he's worthy of that shot because he has been love him or hate him, despite how some may feel because of his last performance. I'll just say this: when he was right at the weight at 154, he was right. I mean, he took a loss to Tony Harrison, but he came back strong. And I think people have been disrespecting him because he lost to Canelo.
Right.
And I don't know why people can't understand. Canelo beat a lot of people, knocked them out because Charlo ran or whatever and survived. Everybody's dogging him, but I think you're taking away from the standpoint of what he has done at 154, and that's why I think if he ever fought Crawford, I think it'd be a great fight. Not sure if he's going to be next in line for Charlo, but I think Charlo really wants to set the tone, and depends on how things go. Charlo wants to set the tone and show the world that he's still good at 154 if he can get his out of the ring and his legal stuff together. And how does he do that? By coming back and showing the world that he's serious and for real. You do honor the Tim Tszyu clause, and you take him down. And then you beat Tim Tszyu, not too much people can say. Then they're going to say Crawford is next, right? But at least you quiet people for a minute to go, enough of this crap. I told y'all, here we go.
I think with Charlo, it wasn't that he lost to Canelo. He didn't even try to fight Canelo, and I think that is something that I don't think unless he does something miraculous and recharge his boxing career, that is something that people are going to always remember, that he didn't even try to fight Canelo. Hey, put your best fight up. You get knocked down, you lose. But you didn't even try to fight this man, and you were the one that called him out. And I think that's what I don't think he can live down unless he does something miraculous, come back and beat the snot out of Canelo in a rematch or whatever. I don't even know why they would even have a rematch for him for that fight, because it'll be I don't think people will pay for it, and I think people will remember the first fight and was like, nah, it's not worth it. But he has to rejuvenate his career after that performance, and I'm not sure if he can.
I agree with that 100%. But I think the other part, for me anyway, that we can't, that I won't discount. I won't say other people, you have your own opinion, but he went up 2 weight classes. And I know he was calling him out, and maybe he should never done it. and maybe he didn't know what he was getting into because once he got in the ring, he was running for his life. I give you all that. And did he not try it all? I give you that too. You can say that. But it's a different world at 154 where he's comfortable. It's not Canelo. I don't know if there's too many people at 154 that are just as good as he is. Now his effort at 168 or whatever it was, 2 weight divisions up, it was lackluster at best, right? Lackluster at best. But I think we're not giving him enough credit at his weight that he's comfortable where he's been a champion. And until somebody different at 154 shows me differently, I'm gonna give him a shot. You know, America's full of second chances, right? That's what we do. We love a good comeback story. George Foreman, all kind of guys. So I don't know. I got a soft spot in my heart for the Charlos. I think they're from around the way. I think a lot of times they're misunderstood. A lot of stuff they bring on themselves. I'll say that too. I get that, but it's just I like to see the underdogs, overcome some things.
Yeah. Any other boxing stories we should be aware
You mentioned the majority of them all, I think, for the most part. But there's one other thing that I would say. They're talking about Tank Davis, and excuse me for using his old name. I know that he's changed his name, but the former Mr. Davis, thinking about going over to Australia or England and fighting Conor Benn. Conor Benn's undefeated. I think that'd be a very interesting fight. Going to do a huge numbers over in England because the boxing fans in England, the British boxing fans are just amazing. They love boxing, and to see one of their own undefeated young champions coming up against a top-notch guy in the former Mr. Davis, I think that's can't miss from the standpoint of, and that's a fight that Hearn, the promoter Hearn, would love to have because it's going to sell out. It's going to be everything, and you probably get some other money from Saudi or whatever to put it in. One thing about him, he go get that money from overseas and does what he can do what he do. But yeah, I think that would be a great fight. So we might see that as the comeback for the former Mr. Davis.
All right. He's Icewater. I'm Puma, and this is Fight Game.